a bombshell report, a furious denial. And now, the editor is firing back. Phil Mickelson, one of golf's greatest players and most controversial figures, is at the center of another firestorm. Allegations of misconduct, anonymous sources, and a bitter war of words between his camp and the journalist who wrote the story. But here's the twist: the editor isn't backing down. He's doubling down. And the golf world is watching closely. So who's telling the truth? And who's just trying to protect their reputation? Let's break down the report, the response, and the battle that's now playing out in public. The report that started it all. It all started with an investigation by golf publication Skratch, written by journalist Shipnuck, a name that's been on Mickelson's radar for years. The report alleged that Mickelson was no longer welcome at 3 California golf clubs because of inappropriate behavior towards women. It also included a claim by Ashley Perez, the former wife of PGA Tour player Pat Perez, that Mickelson showed her an explicit photograph of himself in 2015 and propositioned her. The timing was important. Just weeks earlier, Golf Digest had reported that Mickelson's membership at the Farms Golf Club near San Diego ended after a female employee accused him of non-consensual and inappropriate physical contact. Shipnuck's investigation connected the dots, suggesting a pattern of behavior that spanned multiple clubs and years. He interviewed 19 sources who had deep knowledge of Mickelson and his behavior, according to the editor. But here's the thing: the report didn't just focus on the allegations. It also included details about Mickelson's personal life, including claims about his marriage and how he allegedly used his phone to hide his whereabouts from his wife. And that's where this story gets really interesting. Because Mickelson's camp didn't just deny the allegations, they went after the reporter, the publication, and even its ties to the PGA Tour. Mickelson fires back, a drive-by shooting. Mickelson's response came swiftly, and it was brutal. In a lengthy statement to the New York Post, his representatives called Shipnuck's article an anonymously sourced drive-by shooting that was heavy on implication but unsupported by any on-the-record sources. They denied that Mickelson was ever forced out of any golf club. Mr. Mickelson has never been expelled from a golf club. His membership has never been revoked by a golf club. Those decisions were his alone, the statement said. The statement also pushed back on the Ashley Perez allegation, specifically, the description of the photo. According to Mickelson's camp, when he called to apologize, he challenged the allegation by asking, "You mean topless?" suggesting it wasn't a full body nude as described. But here's where it gets personal. Mickelson's team also accused Shipnuck of dragging his wife, Amy, into the story without justification. Mrs. Mickelson is not a public figure. She did not choose the spotlight, and there was no legitimate journalistic reason to drag her into it, the statement said. And then they played the PGA Tour card. The statement pointed out that Skratch was originally created as a PGA Tour-owned media brand before being folded into ProShop in 2024, a transaction in which the tour retained a minority ownership stake and became a strategic partner. The implication? That the investigation might be motivated by Mickelson's defection to LIV Golf. The statement concluded with a sharp rebuke. Credibility is not earned by publishing the most provocative narrative. It is earned through transparency, verification, and a clear distinction between fact, inference, and speculation. The editor fires back, "We stand by our reporting." But Skratch editor-in-chief Ben Boscovich wasn't about to let that slide. In his own statement, he hit back hard, and he didn't hold back. First, he addressed the timeline. He said they sent Mickelson a detailed, 17-question request for comment 3 days before publication. They also sent a separate request to Amy Mickelson through the family attorney. Neither of them answered a single question. It's bizarre that Tom Clare is now challenging our reporting through the press rather than answering our questions directly, Boscovich said. He also defended the use of sources. Ashley Perez is named and quoted throughout the story. And every one of our sources is willing to back up their corroborated statements privately if it becomes necessary, he said. On the Amy Mickelson issue, Boscovich disagreed with the claim that she's a private figure. She is certainly a public figure, he said, pointing to her involvement in the well-known Mickelson Charitable Foundation and her past media appearances, including a Sports Illustrated swimsuit issue in 1998. And on the phone tracking allegation, which Mickelson's team called sinister, Boscovich said it was simply unusual behavior that multiple sources at the Bridges had detailed. "We did not describe this behavior as sinister, but it is unusual," he said. He also pushed back on the implication that Skratch's reporting was motivated by its ties to the PGA Tour. The PGA Tour has no oversight over Skratch or any of Pro Shop's editorial businesses, and was not consulted and did not receive advance notice of the piece, he said. Finally, he defended the journalism itself. He said the story was vetted by 2 top entertainment lawyers and a fact-checker with decades of experience. Skratch Golf stands by its reporting, he concluded. The long history between Shipnuck and Mickelson. To understand this controversy, you need to know the history between these two men. And it goes way back. Shipnuck has been writing about Mickelson for decades. He's the author of an unauthorized biography and has had multiple run INS with the golfer over the years. In fact, there's a story from the 1999 PGA Championship that tells you everything you need to know about their relationship. According to Shipnuck, after he wrote a reader mailbag that included some unflattering comments about Mickelson's physique, Mickelson confronted him. Shipnuck claims that during a press conference, Mickelson told him, "I'm not going to answer that because I don't respect you as a writer." Later, in a private tunnel, Mickelson allegedly said, "If you have a problem with me, just throw the first punch." Mickelson stepped closer and repeated, "Just throw the first punch." When Shipnuck didn't respond, Mickelson said, "That's what I thought." That was 25 years ago. And clearly, the bad blood hasn't faded. So when Shipnuck publishes a story like this, you have to wonder, is he reporting the truth, or is there a personal vendetta at play? Or maybe both. The answer probably lies somewhere in between. But one thing's for sure, this is far from the first time these two have clashed. And it won't be the last. What happens next? The fallout continues. So where does this leave us? The controversy is far from over. Mickelson has withdrawn from the 154th Open Championship at Royal Birkdale, meaning this will be the first year since 1990 that he hasn't played in at least one of the 4 majors. He's also only played one LIV competition this year after announcing in February he was dealing with a family health matter. Meanwhile, the allegations have sparked a broader conversation about the golf media and the nature of anonymous sourcing. Some have defended Shipnuck's reporting, pointing to the corroborating sources and the fact that Mickelson declined to respond before publication. Others have questioned the timing and the involvement of Skratch's PGA Tour ties. But here's the bottom line. The court of public opinion hasn't made up its mind yet. And both sides are dug in. Mickelson's camp is denying everything. Skratch is standing by its reporting. The story has also highlighted the broader tensions in golf, the PGA Tour versus LIV, the old guard versus the new, the journalists versus the athletes. Mickelson has been at the center of all of it, and this controversy is just the latest chapter in a long and complicated saga. One thing's for sure, this isn't over. There will be more statements, more interviews, and probably more controversy. And the golf world will be watching every step of the way.